Ladies and gentlemen, we are live!
Straight from the East Coast, former pro wrestler turned MMA enthusiast, exclusively on Nick Portella MMA, this is the Finish Podcast with Sean Lazarus.
Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Sean Lazarus here. I just kind of wanted to talk about the controversial finish to the Jeremy Stephens, Josh Emmett fight that was last night on Fox Sports 1. So I want to go over a few things. Well, let's do this first. This is going to be a spoiler, so if you haven't seen the fight, maybe you should turn off the video or turn the sound down. Maybe you just want to look at my pretty face. I don't know. Spoiler 1, 2, 3. Okay, so gonna want to talk about the definition of a grounded opponent. Of course, we're referencing the illegal knee that struck Josh Emmett, and we're talk about whether or not that knee would have made a difference in the fight. And what we're gonna do, I'm gonna let him talk. I'm going to let Jeremy Stephens talk. This is an interview taken post-fight, and he's just going to kind of describe his thoughts on what was happening.
So when you're here looking for the finish, as you see here, obviously, you're just trying to get the finish. What are you seeing through this portion right here? What do you remember of it?
The referee, Dan Mergliotta, came in the back. He said this is the new unified rules, that if two hands are down, you could lift one hand up to knee. That's okay. So if he's on his knees and one hand is up, it's okay to throw a knee. I'm not a dirty fighter. I never have been my whole life. I saw an opportunity. I was looking for it. I don't even think I landed the knee. It was the left hook that dropped him. But, go ahead, Bisping.
No.
Okay, so I just want to jump into that real quick. So what he's saying technically is correct, but in a different context, meaning what Dan Mergliotta is talking about to him in the back. What he's saying, what he's talking about is, say, if example, if let me just kind of pull this up while I'm talking about it. These are just kind of the new rules. Get it right here. Okay, so excuse me, fighting a cold. What he's talking about, say for instance, if you're standing up, your feet are grounded, say, but you're bent over, but your feet are still grounded, you can become grounded by placing both palms, both fists, or a palm and a fist on the ground. Okay, and like I said, that's noted right here in the rules right here. And I think what people are doing are forgetting the fact that what's also in the rules is that's not the only way for someone to become grounded. Obviously, if a hand or a palm, a fist, and any other part of the body other than the feet touch the ground, then you are grounded by that. And in this example, Josh Emmett had one knee and one hand on the ground at the point of the strike, which would then make it illegal. That would make him a grounded opponent, and striking in the head would then be illegal. And, the referee should have seen it. He should have penalized Jeremy Stephens for it. There's just no way out of it. On top of the illegal elbows to the back of the head, to me, those were more vicious than, the illegal knee. But let's just watch a little bit more here.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask, because we all had a big debate with DC and Jon Anik. On the slow-mo replay, it didn't look like it actually connected. So I was going to ask you, did you feel impact?
No, I didn't. I'm in the moment right there. Dan Mergliotta came in the background. He told me the rules and exactly what to do. If, two hands are on the ground, you could lift one hand up to knee him. And that's the new rules. That's in this specific state. I've had guys on their hands.
Hold on. Let me ask you a question. So are you saying at that moment in time you were methodically thinking he's got one hand on off the floor, or were you just lost in the moment?
Okay, right. So let's just hold on. Just back that up just a touch. All right, so right here, this is right at the point of the strike. He's got, if you could see, he's got one hand on the ground right here, and then he's got a knee down right here. Okay, one hand, one knee. He is, for all intents and purposes, he is a grounded opponent, which makes the subsequent
One
strike
hand on
right
the-
here
off the floor, or
illegal.
were you just lost?
Now, what I will say about that knee. Did he hit him 100% with it? Did it land flush? No, it didn't. Right? So, it didn't land flush, but here's the thing. If anybody's ever been kneed in the face, much less kneed in the face by a professional fighter who knees people in the face for a living, okay, it still hurts whether you get hit with 100% of it or 10% of it. Okay, what it looks like to me, that it basically, say, if this is his head and this is the knee, it almost like it kind of, instead of it hitting square on, it was almost like a graze. Okay, if you're gonna sit there and say, excuse me, if you're gonna sit there and say that knee didn't hurt at all, I think is absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, getting hit with, just because it wasn't flush, it wasn't a flush hit to the temple or directly to the face, and that it was more like looks like more of a skid, or even, like I said, just if 10% of his knee hit him like that, I don't think it's really fair to say that it didn't do any damage. Like I said, maybe not 100%, but 10%, 20%, who knows? Only Josh Emmett knows, right? With that said, do I think that knee would have changed the end result of the fight? No, I don't. Unfortunately, not for Josh Emmett. I know he put in tried to put in an appeal for it, or he did put in an appeal for it. I don't think it's going to make a difference. Appeals don't really bode too well. Sort of it being drug related, steroid related, something like that. Nothing really gets overturned in UFC, right? Prime example, when Tim Kennedy fought Yoel Romero. I don't know if you guys remember, in between rounds. I don't remember which round. I don't know if it was between 1 and 2 or 2 and 3. I don't remember. Yoel took just an extremely long time to get up off the stool in between rounds. It's supposed to be 1 minute. And it ended up being, several, 2, 3, 4 minutes. I don't know the exact time, but it was an inordinate amount of time. It was strange. And Tim Kennedy was ready to go. The round was supposed to start, and he's still sitting there, just looking kind of dazing off in the space. And he later claimed that he didn't. Yoel was a little confused and didn't quite understand what was going on, but he then went on to beat Tim Kennedy, and then Tim Kennedy tried to appeal it, showing the bylaws stating that if an opponent doesn't get up between rounds, he's essentially forfeiting the fight. And Tim Kennedy had a good case. I think he had a better case than this, than what Josh Emmett has, but it didn't do anything. Josh Emmett was rocked, and let me just say this too. I was pulling for Josh Emmett, so I don't want it to seem like, it's not like I was just pulling for Jeremy and I'm just gonna, pull for his side regardless. It's not like that. I actually wanted Josh Emmett to win. With that said, they're both awesome. They're both savages. They both can trade leather, and it's unfortunate for both of them. I think Josh was rocked. And I think, like I said, I think the elbows, if we're going to say anything did more damage, I would say the elbows to the back of the head did more damage than the knee. But he was rocked, and I think that regardless of that knee, take the knee out, take the elbows to the back of the head out. Jeremy Stephens, he was just swarming on him, and I think that the end result still would have been the same. Josh kind of came out a little arrogant, a little too confident in the second round. He had an awesome first round against Jeremy Stephens, and I guess it would be hard not to feel confident having such a great first round against him. And Jeremy Stephens came out and made a couple of adjustments, small adjustments, but it was enough to do the trick. And when you're at that level. those, you're not looking for miles, you're not looking for huge strides, you know, in between rounds or making adjustments during the fight. It's those inches, right? Those inches can mean everything, and in this case, it made the difference. It wouldn't have mattered. Was it an illegal knee? Yes. Was Josh Emmett technically grounded? Yes. He should not have been striked. He should not. There should have been no attempt to strike at that point. Do I think Jeremy Stephens did it on purpose? No. And I think it's unfortunate for both of them. Obviously, Josh Emmett because he lost, but you know, Jeremy Stephens, like I said, he's a lot of respect goes to the both of them. And Jeremy Stephens, he's at a point in his career where every win is really counting. He's on the rise. You know, he's been around for a long time. He's only 30, 31, and he's already a vet, and he's on a tear right now. And it's every win, every fight for him right now is very important. And this kind of, I don't want to say taints his victory, but you know, it definitely leads a kind of a bitter taste, right? I don't think he did it on purpose, and you know, I believe him when he said that he's not a dirty fighter, and you know, he thought he was doing the right thing. Yeah, I buy it. You know, do I think that all fighters should understand the rules a little bit better? You know, in the state they're in, because some people have the amended rules, some of them don't. There needs to be a set standard. And that's just, you know, even if it's not, regulated by the state, I feel like the company has to have a regulated standard. I don't know how that would work. There needs to be a more regulated standard, so it's not different state to state. You know, like some of the judging is different state to state, and some of the rules are different state to state, and it's just, I just feel like that's unacceptable. But, you know, Jeremy Stephens on a tear. This kind of leaves a bitter taste. But, you know, I think people will forget about this a week or two. And it'll kind of get swept under the rug. And Josh's appeal, it's not going to go anywhere. It is what it is. Like I said, unfortunate for both. It is what it is. There's really not a whole lot else to say about it. But, you know, props, like I said, props to Jeremy Stephens. Came back after, you know, after kind of a less than stellar performance in the first round, and came back and got the job done. You know, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for this video. Please, guys, if you get a chance, please leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. You know all the good stuff to do. You know, ask me a question, throw a comment, whether it's good or bad. We want to hear it. We will respond to it, at least the best that we can. Please, you know, check us out on social media. All the links will be down below, and we'll see you on the flip side. Thanks for watching.